Talked about Gravity having a pretty good and wide champion pool. Pobelter said he thinks there's nothing left for Gravity to innovate with. We'll see if that's actually the case. There's Saints Nuna going away, and unsurprisingly, Impulse also banned the Sejuani. Rush not want to play that. You mentioned Adrian's Leona. That one's gone. Yeah,
that's going to be a Sejuani ban in every single game.
Probably.
They're actually trying to eliminate Saintvicious as tank junglers and create more of a fighter jungler game where Rush has been shown superior. Already 2 of Team Impulse's top 5 lineups have been banned by Gravity.
Adrian has been able to start many things and initiate the fights coming in. Thought we might see an Italy from Gravity here to stop Rush from going crazy on something aggressive in the jungle, but it's a TF ban as well for the last one here, so XiaoWeiXiao can't add the map pressure.
Interesting that they go for the Twist of Fate ban here. That does leave the Karthus open that XiaoWeiXiao wanted to play. I was actually talking very briefly with one of the other guys before the cast started, and he was saying, you know, who's good against Karthus? And he was kind of talking about your point about what can you counterpick here. And I mentioned that Vlad might be really good in the lane matchup. I'm not sure if that will happen here for Keane, but that champion is left open for him. All that said, Impact gets his Hecarim for the top lane. It's a great early game lane build. He's got a lot of pressure on pushing the rest of the map around, and Gravity trying to pin down the rest of his champion pool with the quick Rek'Sai.
Yeah, and also Bunny FuFuu's Thresh, 5-0 this split on that champion. Basically single-handedly won Gravity a big game last week to clinch them the playoff spot.
You're not kicking.
I'm a little bit surprised that they decided to go so quickly for the Rek'Sai with Nidalee and Lee Sin still available instead of going for something like Graves, which would both be Cop's pick.
Well, they locked in the Rek'Sai immediately. Which global map pressure, right? When you get the ultimate, they ban the TF. So what do they want to do across the map with a composition like this? Is they're geared towards, you know? It's gonna be interesting. The Sivir and the Lee Sin picked up with the Hecarim.
I mean, Gravity clearly have a plan, and the plan involves a fighter jungler. When you consider they're not showing solos, they're not showing an AD carry, and they think that with the picks and bans, like Gravity are probably going to get whatever comp they want on the back half of this. And what that comp is wants Rek'Sai.
All right, Rush going with Lee Sin. Game on. But it's because they banned the tank junglers, so it is an early game pressure game, which typically favors Rush.
True.
Saintvicious is more comfortable on tanks.
Oddly enough, these quarterfinals have already been quite bloody in the beginning parts of the games. The teams are going very hard so far, as we saw yesterday. And Gravity now to round out number 3, number 4 for them. Looks like it might just be that Maokai top lane. We'll see what Cop gets for himself.
Yeah, I actually do like Ashe, by the way, but I don't think we're going to see it either way. Gravity, yeah, I want to see what this comp ends up being. Again, they've hidden almost everything. They do have some playmaking available. If they do go Kalista, I actually really like that combo. Both these guys in the dual lane can save each other. We talked about that early game pressure, the Lee Sin. Well, Bunny can play hyper-aggressive, or he can play Lantern Buddy for comp, and of course, Cop can do the same thing here. It's a very safe team for Gravity right now. Even the Maokai top lane's a defensive tank here, so we'll see what Keane does with his counter pick in the mid lane.
Early on in the year, week 3, Cop actually played Kalista against Impulse. It was into Apollo's Graves, who ended up going 10-1.
Yeah.
They were able to zone in and kill Cop's Kalista. They actually had XiaoWeiXiao on Ahri in that game as well. These last 2 picks will be very telling for Impulse, specifically because we don't know what Adrian will drop back onto, or whether or not XiaoWeiXiao is willing to pick Karthus in any match if it's up.
He's hovering Yasuo now. For the Impulse fans' sake, hope he doesn't go for the champion after all. Maybe he's got the plan here. They do actually have a lot of knock-up synergy, though. Hecarim E, looking at Nautilus support here, Lee Sin as well. And no, it's the Vlad actually for Impulse themselves. So a lot of team fight power. And great ways to start these battles themselves.
Yeah. I like those picks.
Vladimir does eventually get picked up.
I like Vlad in this comp a lot. Vlad, I think, is very good with Sivir. We've heard many people say that they think Vlad is best when he has things like Ghost ways to get himself into the fight because he's kiteable. Sivir does that for you. He doesn't have to run Ghost. Right now, XiaoWeiXiao's even got Ignite on his summoner spells, but also the crowd control to start the fights out so that Vlad can be consistent follow-up here. I think it's a lot on XiaoWeiXiao's shoulders, and we'll see if he does put in a good performance this game.
It's going to be very critical in these fights whether or not they can lock down onto Cop, though. I think that's one of the big things about the support Nautilus pick, just clicking on Cop and going in. But then, not a huge amount of burst damage from Team Impulse. Maybe the Shields of Keane's Orianna would come in big. That is not your normal Keane outside the box pick. It's very much inside the box.
It's a very ordinary champion for Keane.
Orianna.
That's a first pick for a Keane coming into the LCS here. I'm sure he has some hours on the Orianna. It's all right. It's backed by the 5-0 Bunny FuFuu Thresh. The rest of the team feeling good about the composition that they've brought together here. And it looks like they got what they wanted. They locked in pretty quick in the beginning there.
Yeah, I mean, Gravity have a very defensive team comp, it looks like, right? Early Rek'Sai, okay, there's something here. There's clearly a plan. We haven't shown any of the impact lanes. Okay, well, here's Thresh, Kalista. Kalista's a really good hyper carry, really good mid-range damage dealer. Okay, and a defensive tank. Here's a defensive mid laner in Orianna. You can start fights out. Of course, you know, Thresh hooks are good. You can go for the ball onto the people. But this team comp is very much around Cop as the damage dealer, to me.
Well, that is how the team's actually been playing in the regular season.
Yep.
Cop is 40% of Gravity's kills. He's also had the most kills per game in any split he's played. So this very much plays around Gravity's real strengths.
Well, we'll have to see what these guys have for each other. We'll check, or going to go ahead and check out the social media. Keep tabs on everything and make sure you are getting your votes in. The predictions on this series are by tweeting hashtag TIPWin and hashtag GVWin to @LOLesports. We'll keep those votes tallied throughout the game. Both of these teams, it was hard for teams to get a 2-0 on anybody in the head-to-head. Both of these teams have that against Coast. But Tip also has that against Gravity throughout the split. So it's going to be that momentum they're carrying in here to the first quarterfinal matchup and a possible best of 5. Let's see if we get all 5 of those games.
I really hope so. Both the analysts said Gravity's going to win 3-1 here. And the crowd was in favor of Team Impulse. So far, really, only Zyrene has properly predicted our quarterfinal matches. So
yeah, I rewatched both of the Tip Gravity games last night to see how the series progressed. The interesting thing is they actually played 2 games fairly early on in the season and very close to each other. They played in week 3 and then again in week 5. So there's a lot that has changed about the game since then. And the 2 games they did play, to Impulse's credit, were very different in success cases. The first game was very close. The second game was a 24-minute victory for Team Impulse. So it did seem like they were learning how to beat Gravity throughout that. With that being said, these are very different team compositions than either of the games they played outside of the Kalista pick for Cop.
Absolutely, but right now, as we get ourselves early on into this game, 5 weeks after they first matched, we're going to see Gravity will be looking at 2-on-2 against Impulse here. Early wards come out. They've got control of that western jungle, and Impulse says, "Oh, there's a Kalista. Never mind." What are you trying to do, Apollo? You recalled and stopped.
Well, did he dodge the wards?
I don't believe he got seen. He did what happened in the series yesterday. He runs up to the lane at the start.
Except this time there's no person to check that brush. So this is actually an unscouted lane swap here. They did scout Nautilus though, so it kind of defeats the purpose.
Oh well, 2-on-2 lane happily found, and we typically consider Kalista good against Sivir, so something that Gravity might very much want here unless Impulse can outplay.
He's going to find out that didn't do very much good. Just a few seconds. Tries to get the freeze on the way, but like you guys said, they are going to match up. Interesting here, Cop on the Kalista now. Usually when we see that with a Corki, they will try to go for the 2v1 and have him safe farming. So we'll see how they approach that now with the lanes all evened out. XiaoWeiXiao taking a bit of early damage from a fast level 2 from Keane.
Yeah, I really like that. Double sapling into the Raptor camp. Toss a Q in there. Keane gets an early lane lead. Vladimir is going to get pushed around a bunch early on. Oh, that's a good hook, though. Okay, some damage.
I think we're going to see a few of those.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Bunny on Thresh. We're going to see a lot of those. I actually like that Cop also started with the W on Kalista. Thresh, granted, there's professionals here. They're really good at League of Legends, but you can occasionally miss those last hits for Thresh because he doesn't actually count as melee using the Targons. But with the Sentinel learned, it's really easy. So, quick 2 CS for Bunny FuFuu.
See if Saintvicious can keep all the control necessary to keep Rush out of the jungle here. We know him to be very aggressive. Saint really trying to make an impact on these games for the team. Calling shots from the jungle. Looks like the first one's going to be towards top lane.
Yeah, there's no wards in that top lane right now for Impulse, so Saint has a clean path in for that gank. Oh, Adrian may be dead.
That's a hook on in. Adrian's going to lose a whole lot of health, and the kill goes over to Cop. First blood, Gravity.
I mean, a very non-standard jungle path right there from Saintvicious because of the fact that both duo lanes started off in the top. Saintvicious doesn't even go towards his own blue buff. I mean, it was completely unexpected for Impulse to read that jungle path, and it ends up working out huge for them.
Well, being on the top side, it looks like they get a little bit out of that. Now we'll see if they get something out of Saintvicious being on the bottom, and he heads towards Hauntzer. Brings Chilling Smite out of the base as he comes through with that gold. And it looks like Cop, no rush to push this lane. They're just kind of hanging out, making sure Apollo has a hard time here.
This is now on Rush to try and make it back, which is a very dangerous feeling to be in as a jungler. But the way Impulse has beaten Gravity typically has been Rush taking over the game early. The fact that Gravity has picked a Rek'Sai into the Lee Sin and then had Saintvicious with the larger immediate impact in the game is huge for Gravity, because even last Shadow in the pregame interview said he's really confident in his team post 30 minutes. When he watched all the close games Gravity has been in over the year, they win the close games. It's when they get blown out that they struggle. A start like this is critical for Gravity.
Well, that style for Saint is something we used to hit like a broken record. Saint being involved in First Blood, Saint being involved in First Blood.
Yeah.
We didn't see it as much this year for sure.
Yeah.
It looks like he's back on style though, and I mean, what better time to really turn up than
right
now with the Gravity lineup. And we saw their former sister team in Team Liquid kind of do the same thing. They finally came together, had an absolutely amazing series yesterday, and looks like the pressure is still on.
Yep. Now,
everyone else is in base, so there's very little safety here for Impact to be up this far.
There it is. Get the top jungle, gank top lane, and get the bottom jungle, gank bottom, but I think there's a little too much damage to Hauntzer before the initial gank came through, so Impact's able to squeak out of that one.
Strong horse.
Strong horse.
Saint still had flash though there. If he wanted to play hyper aggressive, he could have tried, gotten another knockup off the Unburrow, and maybe risked the kill in the escapeless Impact, but safer choice there for Saintvicious, and that means, of course, right away, Adrian gets the time to put some wards down. 2 greens and a pink in inventory. His first recall was for wards and nothing else. And maybe Saintvicious' next gank won't work because of that 1 deep ward.
Let's see if that helps. Adrian making sure they have a little bit safer of a time up here in the top lane. It's usually not a lane that dies right away. We see that tip bottom lane being very consistent in their ways. Not winning the lane, but not being a source of why the team is down in gold. Let's see though. Those wards will keep them safe. Saintvicious is going to stick to his jungle. Hauntzer looking to make a play here. 300 HP is definitely a possibility for a kill.
Wow, it's greedy by Impact, but Lee Sin's right there in the river. I think Unseen Hauntzer goes in. This is a big risk.
That's a bait.
He missed. He twisted advance the minion. Dead. Oh, noes!
Wouldn't have killed him anyway. Really smart bait by Impact. He had to rely on the fact that Rek'Sai wasn't there, but Rek'Sai got seen by a ward in top jungle, so they knew no counter gank for Saint. They know all the inputs left available. Really smart play.
First off, Hauntzer needs to play that properly in order to have a chance. Second off, if he does play it properly, it still doesn't work. That was Impact in a very safe situation, turning that kill around. It's actually kind of a disaster. Hauntzer does not necessarily play well from behind. When I look at him as a player, I remember the Zion Spartan game where he was down 100 CS to him, but I also remember some team fighting moments on Maokai where Hauntzer absolutely crushed. He doesn't do well to create his own advantages, so when he's fallen behind against Impact, it spells trouble.
Here's the chance to in. XiaoWeiXiao then on a 200 health. Looks like Flash Q won't come out, but maybe Hecarim does. Keane getting pushed around.
That's the teleport coming from the top side. Holy moly, it's a party in the mid lane, and they get Keane on that one.
How many missed skill shots and still get the kill? Hecarim ult missed right there. Nautilus missed, but he still went down because that was just an accumulation of map pressure right there in order to close that kill down onto Keane.
Not when you miss Hecarim, no fear factor at all. But
yeah.
Either way, Adrian got his really...
Terrifying, technically?
Yeah, whatever.
Oh,
whoop.
1 hook hits, 1 hook miss. Whoa, rush. A little bit of that aggressive tendency, but he looks like he has the safety to get out there.
He's hitting his skill shots.
Yeah.
That's when you really need to hit. Otherwise, Lee Sin doesn't do anything early game. All right, so Impulse, hey, good job by them to get the game back in. And look at this. Wow.
Early home guard.
Oh, yeah.
So far away.
Whiff.
It's a good sidestep. Woo. He was aimed on the path Keane was going.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't really flame him.
Rush landed it all.
Yep.
That's all that matters. Still got the assist, still got the kill. Still allowed XiaoWeiXiao to survive that early laning phase. Vladimir getting closer to level 9 where he will look to take over.
Yep, Revolver and 7, pretty much good enough to not get pushed around too hard. Impact, though, still wanting to fight. Off just Merc Treads. Low on mana, though. Hauntzer, he's getting hurt pretty hard. This could be the kill, actually. He has to flash away. Jeez, yeah.
That's what happens a lot of times. If Hecarim gets a lead in that lane, especially since it's a very top lane focused game as far as where Saintvicious and Rush have been going, it's going to be ISO down there, and it's going to be a really hard time on Hauntzer.
Once he starts coming back with damage, big pain for Hauntzer. See this top lane getting pushed in here. Rush slowly waiting in the wing, but Saintvicious is just as ready. Rush's ultimate providing a bit of damage here. That's kind of the factor that's going to top off the kill.
Rush was actually spotted by a ward when he approached that lane, so that's why Saintvicious was up there. One of those nice deep lane wards that you don't see often in the top lane, but it was here this time. Cop and Bunny played this just right.
A really nice job getting out of this one. Rush gonna lose some time. Has the ulti, no flash, but certainly a champion that can pick up some kills if he finds himself a gank. Right now, that's not the case. So, equal laning phase overall. A couple kills back and forth. Minions being traded overall. Apollo, despite his lane mate giving up first blood, actually now winning in minions against Cop. So, second half of the laning phase going quite well.
Yeah, they've recovered from the first blood early and been able to shove in the Kalista Thresh pretty nicely. Cop does not appear to be going for that early Hurricane that we sometimes see from Kalista, instead just going BF Sword, which will not help against Apollo shoving him in repeatedly.
Well, Saint's going to go ahead and get this dragon since Keane did not get that blue. That might have been a mistake. He's got a lot of mana in the mid lane.
Yeah, look how hard he's hurting now. XiaoWeiXiao just goes for a random all-in because he can't.
He has no flash.
The mistakes
He's just trying to get him out of lane.
Yeah. It's going to be a nice recall, but Saintvicious at the same time.
Yeah.
Unwarded gets himself a dragon for the team, and he can soak up that mid lane wave afterwards. So I can't say all is bad for Gravity here, but XiaoWeiXiao looks like, as we asked what kind of player he'd be in this game, so far the Vladimir is pretty nice.
Playing it strong, hard to gank Vlad in the mid lane. We saw that yesterday, just kind of pulling out easy. Oh, gank on a Hauntzer here. Remember that flash is down from the last engage. Getting that cripple on. Trees already move really slow if you've ever seen a tree move anyways. Hauntzer's gonna die in this one. Impact finally gets himself one on that. A second one, I should say. I thought that was his assist, but they get it.
And this is kind of going towards the script that did win for Team Impulse. Jungle top lane pressure, and how is Gravity going to respond to that? Saintvicious feels strong. He's going in, trying to save this turret.
He's trying to clear the wave here. Maybe that's all. No, the flash is in. Rush has the mechanics to get back in range.
Not good. Not good call at all there by Saintvicious. The Lee Sin ultimate was still up. That is the largest threat skill. Saintvicious is not a tank. He has a warrior enchantment. Right there, Impact and Rush pick up an easy second kill, extending that top lane jungle lead. Impact and Rush, the two Koreans on this Team Impulse team, are crushing.
This is one of those games for Impulse right now where you pretty much go to lane and you get to back and buy your spikes every time. Back, buy another spike. It's going to be painful for Gravity soon.
It's a really nice place to be in for that Gravity sort of. I almost called it a duo lane. Rush and Impact, just able to do what they want. Yeah. It's even nice having home guards on Hecarim because you'll get to the lane sooner than Maokai anyway. To Hauntzer's credit, he was keeping up minion kills. Like, that CS differential is still really close to equal. Problem is, just Rush did a way better job ganking that lane than Saintvicious did. All said and done. But you're seeing, like, that's the dual lane that we were talking about. That's the difficulty. Oh, but the play! I think they might get nothing for this one. They got to pull the rest of the team out, and Saintvicious, of course, about to be locked down under the turret. Very low impact comes in, and it's going to be 2 more kills. Over-dived by Gravity.
This game may be getting out of hand. There's Rush!
Ooh, buddy FuFuu, just a few more kicks. Gets a good cook in there, but he gets hooked himself. Eye for an eye, says Adrian. He saves Rush.
3-4-0. Gravity needs to get lane pressure off of this one, teleporting in on an overdive of Gravity, trying to make a play, knowing they're behind, and they're punished even harder. This game is definitely getting out of hand. Home guard can save the turrets
and
too.
Look at that, yeah, no pressure at all from Hauntzer. He's not getting anything done. Great, you're up 9 minions, who cares? Impact's back into lane already.
303 on Hecarim too. That's scary. I wonder if Hauntzer's just going to try and stay for this turret. He can't.
Give away another kill? No way.
He can't.
Lee Sin's even on the way over in case Hauntzer does stay. Right? Low health turret, maybe the team of Gravity shows up.
Right.
Impulse already ready for that play before Gravity even thinks of doing it themselves.
Do this again, because there was a whole lot of what just happened here.
Well, for one, Gravity may not have expected Nautilus to be there, but they have to at least respect that the support's coming back to lane. It's incredibly hard to dive through a Nautilus. Adrian soaks up everything, slowing people and ulting Cop, so Apollo gets out of there pretty scot-free. And even without the Impact teleport, I think Impulse starts cleaning up that fight. Look out, Hauntzer.
Maybe he's durable enough, but the turret goes down first, meaning he's no longer got any defense in this one. It's a 1 versus 2. The ulti soaks up a lot, but Rush's kick, it's down. Is the damage high enough? Yes, it is. Another kill for Rush. Apollo gets himself an assist as the lane is swapped to push more turrets down.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening. They're going to continue this push on the lane. Gravity trying to take a turret in response, but they're down 8 kills to 1, guys.
This is going to be difficult. Usually we see, or have seen in the past, the Rek'Sai being able to tunnel to turret and protect what's happening, but Apollo and the rest of the team have just had too much brute force when they get those fight wins, and they're going right through to the turrets as well. A second tier here on the bottom side of the map coming in for Impulse. Is this top side of the map one saved here by Rush and Impact? Yes, it is.
You can see, interestingly, sort of the style that Impulse chose to use here. Very actually smart that they actually knew what resources were required. If I was there in Impulse's shoes, I would have kept the lane, bottom lane, to like make sure the turret goes down. Impulse knew better. They knew Sivir would solo the tier 2 turret, Impact recalling defends their own tier 2. Okay, a blue buff gets taken, but Gravity, that's just a good play by them in the first place. Really smart choices. Another fight in the mid lane here.
That's a level 11 for XiaoWeiXiao as well, so that's going to be big damage from him coming from that Hemo Plague just leveled up. They're going to be able to take that fight on Keane.
This game is a whole punch of Impulse having more people in fights than Gravity does, almost again and again. Even though Saintvicious did have good early game pressure, the ward control, everything else is just being taken over by Team Impulse. This is kind of what they've been praised for near the end of the year, is surprisingly their team play and their overall rotations. Rush is just being a jerk right now.
Well, he stood still to stop Tremor Sense. Saintvicious unburrows, and he doesn't know that Rush is still there. Man, that was nearly a kill again.
Playing in the mind of your opponent right now is how they are playing. They don't even have to think of what they're doing next. They can just pretty much do what Gravity is doing. 50 seconds on the clock, and that might just be taking Gravity's blue, Gravity's top turret, and that dragon is going to be theirs too.
Wow, they have so much control over this game. They're up almost 7,000 gold 15 minutes in. This is one of the largest leads I have seen Impulse or any team ever do.
You said the second game was a fast one, Jatt.
They swept the turrets right there. The second time these guys did play each other, it was a fast one. The third game, maybe even faster. Honestly, though, they picked the Lee Sin. Team Impulse was not willing to play the late game scaling game. They wanted to rush and play impulsive. All of their, everything they want to do.
Quick shot, please.
It's true. When they announced their team name, it was because they wanted to play impulsive. They said that on their website.
That's true.
Rush, he picks his name because that's how he wants to play as well. It's in the name, but it's in their play style too.
Yeah, and the mid lane has got to have a little smile on his face right here as Impulse feeling good about how much they are in control. Gravity, they're not laying over. All right, they got the first dragon. They, in fact, rush back down for the second dragon. They know the timer themselves, and they feel confident to look for a team fight here. It's going to be a bit of a desperation attempt. The rest of Impulse are here.
Even if they get the dragon, they got to run.
This would be one of the first times we see that 5v5. Can they get in range for the depth charge? Adrian's ultimate is down, so they only have the close engage. Oh, three-man shockwave. Impact on the side as well. Tries to bump out of that one. Onslaught of Shadows goes through. It's going to be XiaoWeiXiao picking up Hauntzer. They're starting to drop left and right on the side of Gravity, and only Impact has gone down. Cop gets the depth charge, locked up, knocked down, and that's going to be Rush picking up another one.
That fight would have been so good if Gravity had any gold at all. They played that amazingly well. They kited the team back. The shockwave was great, but Impulse know they could win any fight they possibly take. You can see the proof right there.
Yeah, that was the gold lead right there. That's pretty much all that fight was. It's good that Gravity was able to delay Impulse from getting that one dragon, especially because Impulse already has so many stats built up, AD and AP, that the extra 6% would have been quite beneficial for them. But they still lost the fight. They're still down in gold, and it's kind of delaying the inevitable, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't think they should have stayed to pick the fight afterwards. Hauntzer TP'd
I think they were trying to run.
Well, you can watch. Like, they actually go to re-engage after the Ren comes through.
Yeah, well, you land a three-man shockwave. This is the best fight Gravity was going to get, right? They TP in right here. They don't get hard initiated on. Hauntzer is in the middle of everyone, and they get a four-man shockwave, right? Then they throw Bunny FuFuu in for another two-man knockup.
Plays him.
They're not going to get better than that, so I don't discredit Gravity for taking a fight once the shockwave goes down.
Okay.
It's just hopeless at that point, though, because you're not going to find a better fight than that, and they still lost.
Yeah, that's a fair point, Jatt. And you can see it looked close a little bit until Impulse just had too many stats to get knocked down here.
And there's only going to be more of a disadvantage. Apollo did that fight with less than the 2,800 gold, but that's what he went back with. He just spent 3,000 gold, so it's going to sting a little bit as he comes back out throwing boomerangs. Right now, he's in the top lane. Nobody's contesting this one. The members of Impulse, again, to take down the second-tier turret. They may lose their bottom. Actually, nope, never mind. Impact's going to be there in time.
Impact's always there on time. You can say that whenever you want, pretty much. Recall in. Gravity may stay for it. Impact knows how desperate it's going to be and dives right on a cop at the very start of it all. I don't think she can kite this.
They lost the turret.
You're going to get some damage, but Rek'Sai ults out. All right.
Later.
Safe. Okay. I can't say that was wrong, but
a bit of worth there.
That's worth.
For sure.
I'd do that.
I could do that. That's good.
I said it would do that.
That makes it right.
I'd fail at it, but...
So we got a minute coming up onto Baron. Impulse does have Cop down, so a little bit of pressure is thought they could move towards mid. And the clear of Keane is enough to stop them in their tracks down. Now with that, Athene's coming back out. We are on 5.6, remember, now in these quarterfinals in the playoffs.
Yeah, I do like the Athene's pickup. I'm actually a little bit surprised that we're seeing so many aggressive mages. I mean, I guess like Vladimir's not really a lane bully here, but like with Athene's being better, it's like easier to be safe against magic damage mid laners and be a safe mid laner yourself.
Right. I mean, getting spammed by a guy with no mana.
Right. Right. Athene's gives you 40 magic resist and you have enough mana regen to survive the lane. But hey, I mean, well played XiaoWeiXiao. He's held a CS lead. He's team fought rather well. Can't really complain.
Yeah, I'm looking at this game overall, and you can see that the tools Impulse has to siege are actually quite low. Plus the wave clear of gravity is decent. The Orianna, Maokai, Kalista could probably claim, yeah, if they do the Hurricane, could clear waves. However, Impulse has just created so much early pressure that they may have the gold to dive those. The fact that they've killed the 5 turrets, only suffered 2 deaths, 13 player kills, are giving them the gold value to just go where they want, even when it's not safe. If this was an even game and Gravity had not been crushed so heavily in the early match, I think they'd be doing all right. But at this point, they're doing well to keep the gold lead at 7,000. They lose one more fight, though, and it's probably over.
I think it was you that said that, Phreak, that the double duo lane, if you could call it, Impact and Rush won. Both 4-0 and
that's what it was
4-1 and 6.
Rush was just buddied up with Impact, and they were killing everyone.
Well, it seemed to work out. It seemed to work out very well. Minute and a half on Dragon, 20 minutes on the clock here as Impulse lays some deep wards to make sure Gravity has a very small chance of coming back here. Keane finally gets that blue, though.
Yeah, what I want to see here actually is how does Impulse play the next 10 minutes and how much does LS learn from this? Because you don't expect your next game to be this bad at the very start. Yeah, okay, no chase. And so you say, okay, how does Impulse push when they do have a lead? Maybe not a 9,000 gold lead, but you know, if it's a 2,000 gold lead, and what lessons can you learn so that when you play them again in game 2, to have a much better chance at coming back from an early death?
Yeah, and a lot of the first game of best of 5s can be feeling someone out. We saw Unicorns of Love versus Gambit. Unicorns got crushed in game 1, and then won the next 3 in the series. It is very possible that this is not the tail of the series. They're trying to dive, though. Let's see how it works.
Oh, Onslaught right behind the turret. XiaoWeiXiao is in. He gets a good AoE down, but I don't think it's going to be enough to finalize any kills. That gives Gravity some time to fight from the back line, but looks like Tip, as you were saying, too much aggression and also a little too tanky to go down there and still adding pressure.
Still only 1 kill, and Impact ended up going fairly low off that. You can see the difficulties they actually have in sieging the turrets, but they take down their 6th. Now they can pressure Baron.
Wow, he just teleports right back in. He was just at like 12% health. Now he's full fighting the Baron here. TP in from Hauntzer. You can see Gravity want to fight over these objectives. They refuse to say die, but no one's even around to really contest for this one.
Suicide mission.
Q?
Not today.
Nope. Would be unlikely.
The rend heard around the world.
Okay, so let's actually kind of look back at what happened this game to give Team Impulse such a huge advantage. And it all kind of started with Impact and Raj bodying Hauntzer and Saintvicious in that bottom lane. It was an incredibly isolated experience where they didn't actually have a sustained lane swap. They didn't have good board coverage. So maybe Gravity goes for a more lane swap heavy game. Have a fight, though, at Dragon. Impulse trying to get there first. They should. Gravity doesn't want to let him, though. Oh, no. XiaoWeiXiao.
XiaoWeiXiao stuck in the backside. Will Cop turn around for that one? No, he's getting beset by Lee Sin right there, but they do get the kill on the mispositioned XiaoWeiXiao. The fight continues. Shotgun hits a few, but Rush still there for Cop. Knocks down the AD carry. There's all the damage of Gravity. Out goes the team. And it's going to be Impulse picking up more on the backside. Hauntzer, the last man left alive. Whoa. Tries valiantly, but the Summoner Heal keeps Adrian alive. Double kill. Apollo 3-0-8. Get a Dragon.
Was he holding his ult there? Or he just used it at the end to pretty much save Adrian?
Impulse is fighting so frequently that their ultimates are coming up mid-fight. It's getting kind of hard to track at certain points. XiaoWeiXiao,
everywhere.
Another gold lead fight right there that wasn't even that great of a fight, but they ended up crushing. This is kind of the way that most of Team Impulse's games go during the year. They get such a huge lead that they can then play incredibly free later on in the game. XiaoWeiXiao dies before anything matters. Rush jumps into 4 people. The Shockwave only hits 1, but it's a tank. and then Apollo flashes through the middle of the team to go after an Orianna. These are things you can only do with a 10,000 gold lead, but because they have it, they get a 5-for-2 fight.
You know what's crazy? This game reminds me of Gravity's very first game of the split against Winter Fox. They got behind really hard early on and just kept trying to fight to like hope there'd be a misplay and then get back in. 19 kills in 24 minutes is really rare. That's a lot of kills because Gravity keeps fighting these guys. And it gets worse and worse.
Brings that LMQ mentality. If you die, spawn as fast as possible and run back to the fight.
I mean, it's funny. We talked about XiaoWeiXiao having the highest CS at 10 and 20 and the lowest kill participation.
Yeah.
He's participated in less than 50% of his team's kills, once again. This is very much Impact and Rush.
Yeah.
The Impact and Rush show. A lot of the times they 4-man mob, with XiaoWeiXiao often farming a different lane. XiaoWeiXiao is still getting the minion wave pressure for them. It's just, it's very telling that the stats are showing again in the game.
Highest CS in the game, lowest KP on his team, yeah. More of the same, mid lane's gonna go down. There's the inhibitor turret, 25 minutes in, hook on a Hauntzer. There's the engaged, Shockwave only gets Adrian. Pretty useless there, 1 kill picked up. Bunny FuFuu hooks him into the front line, but Impact diving all the way back, and Keane's gonna go down too. Now Cop, the set by Rush, but dies all the same. Kicked him in, flashes afterwards. Bunny FuFuu doesn't land the hook because a ward hop away, but looks like Gravity's kind of outside of their own base. Mid lane inhibitor goes down. Team Impulse with complete control, as always.
Baron Buff, one of the fastest games we've seen so far in the playoffs. 25 minutes, Impulse gonna take game 1.
Ridiculous play from Champion Select to the start of the game to thwart out a first blood and make sure they had the advantage. Like you said, Jatt, 25 minutes in, padding the KDAs a little bit more as they keep Gravity on their fountain. Team Impulse is gonna take game 1 over Gravity.
Well, a nice very early start by Gravity, but we said on paper the top lane and the jungle matchups were probably the most Team Impulse-sided ones. And lo and behold, the Team Impulse top lane and jungler go fight Hauntzer, go fight Saintvicious, and just all the plays Impact and Rush were able to making a case for early game fighters.
This is a scary moment for Gravity after this game 1, because if we look at the ideal team comp, the most winning champions of Impulse during the regular season, they had none of them in that 5-man team. That was their B squad of champions. That's scary.
Can you really say that Rush's Lee Sin is his B squad, though? I realized no one else plays.
Okay. So his Lee Sin is arguably his A squad. But the overall point,
you're right.
for Apollo,
average squad.
Rumble for
average,
Impact.
right. Bring it down.
Leona, right? Like,
some of them,
you're right.
Some of them they didn't even pick. We've seen teams do this before where they have their best champions and they don't show them in game 1. When they know they're better than the opponent.
Game 1 is the game to do that in, right? You have the most time to play with afterward. Even if it goes wrong, you still have the default game to go back to.
Yeah, and now you got to wonder, like, what does Gravity do to switch to this, right? The ban's coming out, right? Okay, they risked leaving the cards open. That worked okay, I guess. But yeah, the bans come out and they're like, well, the Lee Sin was still pretty good. Did we need that Rek'Sai after all? Like, the Hecarim did all kinds of crazy, dirty things to Hauntzer. Do we need that Rumble ban after all? And
the ban strategy from Impulse was nice. Take away the tanks that could neutralize Rush. Nunu is a very neutralizing jungler.
Yeah.
Sejuani is a late-game jungler that makes you snowball, but the pressure was off there.
Well, it's crazy. They were counter-engaged junglers too, right? Yeah. Dive on in, absolute zero, separate the team, you know? Like, dive on in, Sejuani Glacial Prison stops your dive, clear in the tracks, and you're right, those things were gone. Impulse banned away counter champions to the Impulse style, and it clearly succeeded. The early pressure was great. Yep. I think the game played the way Impulse expects to play, and whether Rush learns tanks or not, if you can win 25-minute games, you don't need late-game scaling tanks.
Yeah, I think you can see a lot by looking at the way that Gravity beat Team Solo Mid. Tanks, very long fights. That Sej, that Urgot, both of those are on the ban list this game. That's the forte of Gravity. They want to stay on the fight for a long time in skirmish. For more on Team Impulse's decisive first win of the season,